we can get started. Welcome everybody to.
Excuse me, you
Yes.
need to talk into the microphone or you're not going to
Oh,
record it.
yeah. Okay. Good reminder. Good way to start the panel. Can you hear me now? We're using mics because this is being recorded, so otherwise nothing will appear on the recording. But welcome everyone to our session on funding for internships and research abroad. This is part of the International Career Pathways series, which is shown on the yellow sheet. Let me just ask, how many of you are undergraduates here? And then graduate students? Great, great. This panel covers opportunities for both undergraduates and graduate students. And in many cases, some of the same funding offices offer grants to both undergraduate and graduate students. So if you're a graduate student, maybe bear with us while we're having the undergraduate part, and then vice versa. I'm Bill Nolting at the International Center, and our panel today features people who work at the offices that offer funding. In total, U of M gives out clearly more than $1 million of funding for internships and research each year. It's probably closer to 2 million, but it's hard to document. Anyway, there's a lot of funding available. It's just a matter of knowing how to find it and then how to apply for it. In general, most of these grants will need you to have an internship or research opportunity arranged in order for you to be competitive. In some cases, the program is a placement program that also is a grant. So I think you'll catch that as we go along. In general, this is what's included in a funding proposal. A statement of purpose, that's always very, very important. A letter of recommendation, typically from a faculty member. A budget. A letter of invitation from the place where you will be an intern or do your research project. And then a resume and CV. We have more detailed information on this on the International Center's website. But with that, I think we can get right into our panel. Each panelist will speak for about 5 minutes with hopefully fairly general tips so we can get through the panel quickly, and then we'll hold questions until the end. That will also give you the opportunity to come up and meet with the administrators about their specific grants. So first we have Ben Anderson with the LSNA Internship Scholarship Program.
Thank you guys for all coming out. So as Bill mentioned, I represent the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts, and I'm going to speak specifically about undergraduate funding. So for last year, for the last couple of years, we've offered the LSA Internship Scholarship, and it is available for students studying who are planning to work abroad, so intern abroad, or intern domestically. So we offer the same scholarship for the same opportunity. And students who are interested in applying, as Bill mentioned, you do need to have your internship already confirmed in order to receive this funding. So looking at last year, we funded 80 students in 31 different countries. So those students may have come from the LSA International Internship Program, where we actually help to place students in a variety of experiences, whether that be with a established program or through our alumni resources. So last year, some of our alumni sponsored internships were in Dublin with Qualtrics, who is a growing company. We also placed a student with Goldman Sachs in London, and we had quite a large number of students intern with Michigan alum in India and in Turkey, which was fantastic. And we funded many of those students. Other students came and talked to our program, and they'd already secured an internship, whether it be in Israel, in India, or all across the globe. The one thing that you do have to make sure, if you do have your internship, it has to be in a country that the University of Michigan recognizes as a place that our students can travel. If it's on the travel warning list, we won't be able to fund that experience. So a little bit about our application process. So as Bill pulled up our website and our information, make sure that you meet these qualifications. You have to demonstrate some sort of financial need, and that's determined by the Office of Financial Aid. Unfortunately, we cannot make exceptions. If you're not unsure, you can always come in and talk, and we can help you answer that question. So that's the big criteria. The other is you have to be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident in order to receive this funding, and you have to be an LSA student. So those are the big three criteria, and if you meet those, we can talk to you about funding. And as Bill mentioned and laid out, you have to have each of those steps, a resume, a statement of purpose, fill out our application. If you guys are not familiar with Compass yet, you should be, because it'll be your friend throughout the scholarship process, from application to actually your time abroad, because there are certain requirements that you have to complete after receiving the scholarship. So our deadline, the application opens up at the beginning of January, and it closes April 17th is our closing date. So throughout that time, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you can come visit our International Internship office in the LSA building, and I can give you, or it's in room 2209, since this is being recorded, of the LSA building, and we can talk to you about the application process. So we look forward to receiving a lot of interest from you, and hope to meet many of you soon.
Hi, everyone. My name is Janelle Fosler, and I'm the Fellowships Coordinator for the Center for South Asian Studies. I'm here today to talk to you about the Summer in South Asia Fellowship. This fellowship is a really amazing opportunity for undergraduate students to do internships and also conduct research in India over the summer. This opportunity is funded by a generous donation to the center by an anonymous donor, and so students receive $3,000, and that typically covers all or most expenses. One of the really unique aspects of this fellowship is that there is advising available to assist you with internship placement, and also identifying a research topic and also narrowing it. This program provides students the freedom to volunteer and do research in an area of your or their interest. Undergraduate students from all academic disciplines are eligible to apply. So we've had students from a really wide variety of academic backgrounds. We've had business students who've worked with microfinance institutions. We've had art majors do apprenticeships or use their talents to teach children art. We've had an engineering student who set up solar panels in a rural village. We've had a lot of people in health-related professions or health-related majors who have done volunteering in hospitals or on public health campaigns. And we also have a lot of students who just work on causes that they're really passionate about, whether it's the environment or education or poverty issues. I think that really is the beauty of this fellowship, is that the opportunities really are endless. As mentioned, this opportunity is open to all academic majors. Our only stipulations are that you can't be graduating before April of 2016. You have to be able to spend at least 4 weeks in India over the summer, so between May and August. Paid internships cannot be funded, but remember, you get funding from the center. And then you also cannot have significant past experience traveling in India. So if you're unsure if any past travel to India is significant, you can talk to me about that. The application process, it's open right now. There's 2 phases. The first application is due on January 4th, and a large portion of that application is a research proposal and a personal statement. As mentioned, I'm here to kind of guide you through that process, and final decisions will be made in mid-February. I'd like to just make one last announcement. The Summer in South Asia Symposium will be taking place in this room on Friday at 4 o'clock until 6. It'll feature presentations by our 2015 fellows, and they'll be sharing their experiences in India and also the research that they did. It's a great opportunity to learn more about the fellowship and also get an opportunity to talk to last year's fellows and also fellows from past years. So if you're interested, please contact me. I have flyers and detailed information about the fellowship up front, and I look forward to working with anyone interested. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Folaké Graves, and I'm with the Program for International Comparative Studies. I'm going to talk about 2 fellowship opportunities through our office. The first is the Arctic Internship Fellowship, and it provides funding up to $2,000 for any U of M undergraduate student, with the exception of graduating seniors. The internships are non-paid, and the $2,000 is to support your travel and/or living expenses. We have partnerships with 3 organizations for students who have an interest in international security, climate change, and our economic development. Students should investigate what projects the partnership institutions are currently working on and explain how they align with your own research interests. You will need to propose a research topic based on your interests. This is a very much student-designed internship opportunity. Past students' projects have focused on food security, cybersecurity, women's rights, and conservation and protection of Labrador ecosystems. The application will open in January and close February 15th. Right. So I'm also going to talk about a fellowship that is open to graduate and upper-level undergraduate students. The International Institute Human Rights Initiative, in partnership with the Social Science Korea Human Rights Forum, offers grants to support summer research for students who have an interest in human rights in South Korea. You do not need to speak Korean to apply for this fellowship. The fellowship funding is for $3,500, and the deadline to apply is March 16th, and that application will open January as well. Strong applicants for either fellowship will convey to us in their proposal that they have done their homework and they know something about our partner organizations. They should have a good idea of what their intern or research interest is and how it connects to the partner organizations and how this experience will contribute to your academic and or career goals. And a strong letter of recommendation also helps. So if you need more information about those 2 opportunities, feel free to reach out to me. And I have some flyers on this table to my left as well.
Good afternoon. My name is Temuulen Johnson, and I'm a manager for Minority Health and Health Disparities International Training Research Program. And it's known by MHERT on campus. We've been running at the University of Michigan for 20 years, and we already sent over 500 students around the world. This program is very unique about known by fully funded program, and it's hard to find a fully funded program, which the fully funded, it includes accommodation, airplane tickets. Also, we give student stipends and research support money. This is a need-based program for minority students, and if you also receive financial aid, you also qualify for this program. And another requirement, you have to be U.S. citizen or green card holders, available for undergrad, grad, and medical students. So most of our research projects involve health. As you can see from our websites, the projects are listed, and it's a specific project. So you just go directly to our website and read the project description, and if you're interested in, you just go ahead and go apply. The requirement for the application is you have to submit complete application, current transcript, and 2 letters of recommendation. So one of the recommendation letter is a professional letter. It could be your professor, teaching assistant, research mentor, your employer, or it could be a lab supervisor. The second, it's one personal letter. This could be your advisor, school advisor, counselor, clergy, a friend or family will also accept. The deadline for the application is on November 6th, so it's approaching. It's going to be probably in a month. So if you really, really want to apply for this program, probably you should start visiting our website. And another thing I would like to announce is on November 6th will be our poster presentation where all our students who went to this research this summer will showcase their work. And if you have any questions, please, talk to me later, and I have this brochure on the table. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Audrey Buswell and I work in the International Center with Bill Nolting. I'm going to talk about two different opportunities today, the Wallenberg Fellowships and the Critical Language Scholarship Program. So the first one I'll talk about is the Wallenberg Summer Travel Awards. So this scholarship is similar to some of the ones that have been laid out just before me in that it's open to all majors. There are undergraduate and graduate opportunities with this fellowship. And basically what it is you propose a research or internship or service program or project anywhere in the world, so you're not restricted to a certain country. And you submit a proposal, and the proposal should include, you should expect it to include a budget, clearly laid out plan for your project, some recommendations, and so on. But the caveat to this scholarship is that it really does need to have a service element. And if you check out our website up here, you can read a little bit more about Raoul Wallenberg himself and the history that he has with the University of Michigan and some of the things that he's done. And so when you're filling out these applications, be sure to at least acknowledge the namesake of this scholarship. So, it really does need to have some sort of a volunteer or service, a humanitarian side to this project. The deadline for this application hasn't been set yet, but it's usually mid-February. Last year it was February 16th, and we're hoping to open the application in early November. One other piece to note is while we do offer this to undergrads and graduates students, you cannot be a graduating senior. If you are a graduating senior, you should consider applying for the Wallenberg Fellowship, which is a different opportunity. So definitely check out the website. It sort of lays it out a little bit clearer on there. And yes, so I don't have a whole lot of time. There's a lot to cover with this one. So if you do have questions, sure to get in touch with us later on. And then the second scholarship that I am going to talk about today is the Critical Language Scholarship Program. And this is different because I feel like I'm cracking in and out here, but anyway, it's a federally funded program. So this is funded through the Department of State, and it's a fully funded overseas language and cultural immersion programs for U.S. citizens, or I think you have to be at least a U.S. resident. I think I said citizens. It's U.S. citizen, rather. So you have to be a U.S. citizen, but it's available to undergraduates and graduate students. And the goal of this scholarship is to broaden the base of Americans studying and mastering what the State Department considers to be critical languages. And one other thing to note is when you're filling out this application, you really need to make sure you look at the ways that why they need to fund you. Why should they fund you? Why do you need this opportunity for your future academic or political career? That's definitely a big part of what this application is trying to get out of the students. So just a little bit about the eligibility requirements. A common question for this program is, can I be a graduating senior? In this one, you actually can be, as long as you're enrolled during the time of application. So right now, this fall semester, as long as you're enrolled, you are eligible to apply for the Critical Language Scholarship Program. And again, it's a fully funded 8-week opportunity over the summer for intensive language study, and they offer lots of different languages, and I'll just go quickly through them here. They offer beginning through advanced language learning for Azerbaijani, Bangla, Hindi, Indonesian, Korean, Punjabi, Swahili, Turkish, and Urdu. They offer advanced beginning through advanced language learning for Arabic and Persian. And then they offer intermediate to advanced levels of Japanese, Chinese, and Russian. So again, this deadline is coming up. It's mid-November, and I don't think that they've opened the application yet, so keep your eyes peeled for that.
Hi, I'm Kelly Peckens. I administer fellowships here at the International Institute. Here at the International Institute, we administer a number of prestigious national fellowships, and then we also have some of our own in-house International Institute and U of M supported fellowships that we offer. So we're housed here in the International Institute, which is where we are now, upstairs on the second floor. So if you want to come in for advising on any of these, you'll find us in the main office of the EII on the second floor. So if you have a look at the back of your green sheet, you'll see a whole list of the opportunities that are upcoming that we offer. So I'm going to go through them sort of chronologically. We have offerings for both undergrads and graduate students. So the first one is right around the corner, the Luce Scholarship, which is a very prestigious award, the most prestigious really that we offer. There are 18 Luce Scholars nationwide each year. So U of M is allowed to nominate 3 people to the Luce Foundation, and we have a scholar about every other year. So again, it's a very competitive, very prestigious award. That deadline is right around the corner. If you are interested, come and talk to me sooner than later. Moving on to the next one chronologically, we advise for the Bourne Fellowships. So this is a January 28th deadline, and this is for graduate students. This fellowship will offer up to $30,000 for graduate students who'd like to incorporate an international internship or research project or language study into their graduate degree progress while they're here at U of M. This is funded through the Department of Defense, so they're really looking for those who are going to study critical languages. There's a whole list on the website of which languages are preferred and deemed critical, so you can have a look at that and certainly come in for advising if you'd like to talk more about it. After that, the next deadline is February 15th, and if you submit an application on the February 15th deadline, you'll be considered for 4 of these opportunities. So the Rackham International Research Award, the II Individual Fellowships, the International Institute Albegovich Fellowships, and also the Research and Intern Support in Africa will all be managed through that one application system. So if you fill out this application, you'll be considered for all 4 of those, assuming you're eligible for those, but you'll be considered for all funding that you'd be eligible for. So this funding is for both undergraduate students and graduate students, and they're really aimed at those who are going to be completing research internationally or an international internship. What we're not looking to fund is traditional study abroad, and also not community service or service learning, service projects. These are really meant to be academic fellowships. So you'd need to be proposing how the experience that you're going to have, whether it be research or an internship, how it's related to your degree progress here at U of M, and how it's related to your future career goals. The application pieces are much the same as everything that Bill laid out. It'll be completely online, and there will be advising available. You can always go to the website and click the link to schedule an appointment with an advisor. The final piece that I want to touch on after that, and I should say that funding can be used for summer or for academic year. It really is up to you to propose your project and lay out your timeline. So very, very open there. And the last opportunity that I want to mention, which isn't actually on the sheet, but this is Fulbright. The Fulbright program for U.S. students is one of the largest programs that we run here. U of M has a lot of success and support for this program. This is a September deadline, so maybe a little early to think about it, but winter semester, next semester, we will start holding information sessions. We start meeting with students to get you thinking about it, and then the application itself really starts to come together over the summer. But keep an eye out for that opportunity. Fulbright will fund 1 year abroad for those who are graduating seniors, graduate students, even alumni who are a couple of years out maybe after graduation, so a lot of opportunities there.
Thank you, Kelly. My name is Ariel Mallett, and I work for the Weiser Center for Europe and Eurasia. I'm standing in for Julie Burnett, who is our student services person, so I apologize if I don't have all the answers to all your questions. But we essentially also offer grants and research and internship grants for graduate and undergraduate research and internships abroad. Like Bill said, we do pretty much require that you have the internship set up before you apply for the funding, because we don't offer actual internships. And our funding ranges anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000, but we encourage you to apply for multiple sources of funding. So and when you lay out your budget, if you have like a $12,000 project, and we can only give you $5,000, be sure to say that you need the full amount that you need, so that we know how much or what exactly you're looking for. We also require a statement of purpose that should be clear and concise. We recommend that you get help from your peers, from Sweetland Writing Center, from faculty. And it's really important to us that your project is tied to the region in Eastern Europe or Eurasia. We have various grants that are focused in different regions. Some are Polish specific. There's one that's Ukrainian specific. There's the Weiser Center for Emerging Democracies Fellowship that is for any country that would fall on, that would engage the theme of emerging democracies, past or present. So there's a little more flexibility with region for that. And then there's also the Center for European Studies summer research grants, which would be related to any project in Europe or Eurasia or Europe or members of the European Union or countries that are becoming members of the European Union. And then there's also the CREASE research internships and fellowships program grants that are for Russia and Europe or Eastern Europe and Eurasia for that region. And then there is a Ukrainian specific research grant. So there's a lot of options there. And all of those that I just said are open to undergraduate and graduate applicants. And then there is one that is for undergraduate students only, that is the Center for European Studies Summer Research and Internship Grants for summer research or internships. And then there's also we offer grants for the Islamic Studies program that falls under our umbrella, and that specifically is not for language study. It's for anyone who's interested in Islamic studies as a field. And all of these are merit-based, and there's a March 15th deadline.
Okay, my name is Anta Kara. I work for the International Institute Graduate Academic Services Office. My primary area of responsibility is the centers and programs that are related to Asia, and I'm here today to talk about specifically programs at the Lieberthal-Rogel Center for Chinese Studies and the Center for Japanese Studies. And actually, I'm going to start off by talking about the Foreign Language and Area Studies Fellowships, the FLAS Fellowships that was actually on Kelly's list that she's kind of skipped over because Julie Burnett and I essentially manage the FLAS programs, and we have 6 different world regions in which we have the FLAS grants. East Asia, going in alphabetical order, East Asia, Latin America and the Caribbean, Middle East, North Africa, Russia, Eastern Europe and Eurasia, South Asia, and Southeast Asia. These are the 6 FLAS grants. Foreign Language and Area Studies Fellowships are for, we have academic year and summer fellowships. The academic year fellowships are primarily for coursework here in language and area studies right here at the University of Michigan, although it can also be used for a traditional study abroad type programs that combine language study with instruction on culture, history, etc., that are primarily taught in English. They're available both for graduate students and undergraduate students. Graduate students and undergraduate students get different amounts of money, but the fellowship's available to both. The summer FLAS fellowships are strictly for language study, and it's for you to spend time in an intensive language program, typically 6 to 10 weeks, that is essentially the equivalent of 1 academic year's worth of language study concentrated in 6 to 10 weeks. FLAS applications are due on January 25th, and And Julie and I would be happy to talk to anyone who's interested in applying for FLAS. Now going back to the opportunities at Center for Chinese Studies and Center for Japanese Studies, next thing that I want to talk about is the Ito Foundation Scholarship. This is a scholarship for graduating seniors and graduate students who want to study in Japan. The field is completely open, so you don't need to be Asian Studies or Japanese Studies majors. We want to study those kinds of subjects in Japan. The field is completely open, and we've had science students go there. Minimal Japanese language requirement, though it's not a you don't need to have Japanese fluency, but the scholarship is for either enrolling in a master's level graduate degree program at a Japanese university or conducting supervised independent research affiliated with a Japanese university. So that's deadline is coming up fairly soon, November 16th. That's one option, and it provides up to 2 years of funding from the foundation. And the University of Michigan Center for Japanese Studies works with the Ito Foundation, and so we get to nominate students to the scholarship. Generally, we get one, in some years, 2 scholarships from the foundation. And then both Center for Japanese Studies and Center for Chinese Studies have summer fellowships for graduate students that can be used for research and internships in Japan or China, respectively. And these have the same deadline as FLAS, January 25th. Both of these centers also have grants for undergraduate students, both for study abroad in these 2 countries and also for internships in these 2 countries. And the internship scholarship at the Center for Chinese Studies is called the Walter Power Scholarship. The Center for Japanese Studies is still kind of working out the parameters of exactly what this program is going to look like. So we don't have any information on the website yet, but that should be coming. Both of these are expected to have deadline March 15th, application deadline. What we're looking for at both of these for those of you who are going to be proposing especially research projects, we're looking for projects that are substantively related to the country that these centers support. So if you're applying to the Center for Chinese Studies, we want to see projects that are substantively related to China. If you're applying for the Center for Japanese Studies, we're looking for projects that are substantively related to Japan. So we're not just looking for, we're not going to be able to fund, for example, we had a few years ago, we had an application from a chemistry graduate student who was in a joint project. Their advisor here in the chemistry department had a partner at a Japanese university and wanted to go and spend a summer and work on some chemistry project that had to do with chemical polymers. Well, just because you're going to Japan to work on a project doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be able to fund you. We're looking for projects that substantively engage some aspect of Japan, whether it be Japanese literature, history, culture, etc. So we're, we're not just looking for projects that just go there, but we're looking for some kind of a academic critical engagement with the countries that are in question. Okay.
So I should come up here then. Okay, I hate being people behind my back. So I'm Doug Kiesel from the Fellowships Office at Rackham. And let me encourage you to go to the Rackham website because we've revamped basically the whole website, especially the funding page, and it'll give you information. Primarily, there are 4 sources of research monies. 2 are very specific, and that is the LURSI, which the deadline is tomorrow for study in France. So consider maybe next year. These are all for Rackham students. And then the DAAD, which is for study and research in Germany. So and that deadline is passed, and we're in the process of deciding who's going to receive the DAD, the DAAD, and LURSI is coming up. 2 of the resources for all graduate students that you can apply based on the eligibility criteria is the Rackham Graduate Student Research Grants. As a master's student or as a pre-candidate, you qualify for up to $1,500. This is for clearly defined research. In a case of this particular seminar, it's for research, international research, research overseas, although it is open to research here as well. But if your research has an international component, then consider the Rackham Graduate Student Research Grant. For candidates, it's up to $3,000, and the process is very described on our website. It's the online application process, which most of our fellowships are online. The other one is the Summer Research Awards, and this is open to both master's and doctoral students, but it's based on when you started here at the university. So look at the guidelines as to if you qualify or not. For master's students, it's those who have just basically started in the summer or started this current fall. For doctoral students, it's for those who started spring, summer of 12 through fall of 14. So early candidates and or pre-candidates in your second, third year. And it's $8,000. It has a mentoring component, so that particular one you have to, when you apply for the Rackham Summer Award, there's a mentoring component that you have to carefully describe, and as well your mentor, your recommender needs to carefully describe how the mentoring is going to work, and there's a mentoring report that your recommender needs to also provide halfway through the summer. And so again, go to the Rackham website, look at all the funding opportunities, not just the research ones, but our travel grants and all the other fellowships. Some are competitive and some are allocated to programs. And if you have any questions, contact the Rackham Fellowships office. Thank you.
Great. Well, we can take maybe 2 or 3 general questions if you have them, and we'd like to give you plenty of time to come up and talk with the presenters about their specific grants. Does anyone have general questions? Yes.
So I'm a first-year MPH student, so my question is for letters of recommendation and the grades, because I'm currently a first year, I don't have them, so what should I do?
So the question is, he's a first-year graduate student, and who should he turn to for recommendations? Is that right?
Yes.
And he doesn't have grades either. Many of these grants will have their deadlines in winter term, so by then you may at least have one term of grades, right?
Okay.
Would anyone else like to comment on finding someone to write a letter of recommendation?
I think it really does depend on the program. A lot of programs will have very specific requirements about who the recommenders need to be. For example, for the FLAS fellowships, we say we'd like at least one letter from a University of Michigan professor or an instructor. But we require 2 letters, for example, for FLAS, 2 academic letters of recommendation. And we'll say one has to come from a University of Michigan instructor. The other one can, for example, come from your, the instructor from your undergraduate institution or from like a work supervisor. So there are options, and so you should really look at the instructions for each of these grant opportunities carefully.
Any other general questions? Yes.
Have any of you ever worked with someone from the Bachelor of Science and Information course to do undergraduate degree from the School of Information?
The question is, he's in the School of Information bachelor's program, and have people on this panel worked with those students? I think that's probably a question of just of eligibility, and as far as I know, nearly all of these grants do not have a restriction according to the school the student is in, except for LSNA maybe.
If a student has an internship for this winter, a lot of the applications are due February, March. Is it possible to get like retroactive funding for something that's not done?
Excellent question. So this person has an internship in the winter term. Can any of these grants still be applied for? This would be starting in January, say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that situation does arise. Anyone care to comment on that?
So for the II Individual Fellowship or some of the internship funding that we have here at the International Institute, there's a once-a-year deadline for February that will fund for 1 year. So if you were to plan, a January internship, in theory that would be fine. You would just have to apply almost a year in advance for that. So we only have the one deadline per year, and you unfortunately cannot get funding for an experience that you've already had. So you can't get the retroactive funding. So you would just have to plan very far in advance. So for something beginning in January of 2016, you'd be slightly out of luck, or completely out of luck, I should say. But certainly if you wanted to have another experience beginning in the summer or fall or winter semester next year, that would be eligible.
And this is a common question that we receive from undergraduates in LSA. We only fund for the summer term, so we cannot backdate and fund other terms.
I think one potential option would be to go to your major department or graduate program and just find out if they would consider a funding proposal, because in our experience, many departments offer funding, but they don't advertise it. So. Is that it for the questions? Great. How about one? Is there a question? Yes, please. Yeah. Yeah. We'll try it.
Okay, my question is for Ms. Johnson. And I was just wondering, does the MPERT program, I guess I have two questions. Do you have to be a minority to be a part of the program, or is the program to serve minority groups?
Now, the question is about the MHERT program and eligibility.
Yeah, you have to be minority students, or if you receive a financial aid, it's a need-based, then you're eligible.
Great. How about a hand for our panelists, and please come up and talk with them.